Pelosi versus MNUCHIN. It really is one of the strangest twists of events that you could possibly see in a given week. They had not done much of anything by Monday. They were promising a deal last Sunday. By Tuesday and Wednesday, the president was calling off negotiations. By Wednesday, Nancy and Steve were back chatting, but not doing much of anything. By Thursday morning today, the president said there was incredible progress yesterday that there was not, that the president reinstituted negotiations between Steve and Nancy, that Nancy hours later said, you know what? Come and talk to me tomorrow because I'm going to do some 25th Amendment chatter. It's just, I think the people just don't like each other. Do you get the sense? I just think there's too many voodoo dolls in the negotiations. Steve Mnuchin, needless to say, has not been available for comment. Has been nowhere to be seen. You know, last time we got a press statement from his secretary was that he was COVID negative on Thursday last week. There's a lot of twists and turns, and there's a lot of questions whether Steve and Nancy really can do anything at all as Nancy continues to hit with a new scandal. But I'm here, you're here, and this is another special report of Pelosi versus Mnuchin. Hey, good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, whether you're on the West Coast or the East Coast. This is another report of Pelosi versus Mnuchin on Afternoons LALATE. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe because, boy, I'm keeping you abreast to the minute about all the twists and turns about Pelosi versus Mnuchin and why they seem to not be able to get anything from point A to point B, even when they're told to do so. Also, like this video. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff. There's just negotiations since it started months and months ago when I first moved from EIDL into coverage of stimulus, but I've never seen anything until today like this, when Nancy Pelosi's having a press conference about stimulus negotiations, and suddenly she tells the reporters, oh, by the way, we're going to be talking about the 25th Amendment tomorrow. Come back and chat with me. They're like, what are you going to do with the 25th Amendment? I'm not going to tell you, just come back tomorrow. If you don't know what the 25th Amendment is, it's a amendment that says that the president can be removed from his office if he's unfit to serve. This comes 24 hours after Nancy Pelosi appeared on The View, because she's not doing much of anything other than, appearing on talk shows, and said, you know what, I've been dealing with a lot of mental health issues lately, and I'm a doctor by practice, but without a license, because I'm a mom and a grandmom. And so I'm dealing with a lot of mental health issues in my office currently. Not in her office, but down the street, is what she was saying. Boy, this is really not the way you negotiate with people, is it? If you don't realize the way you negotiate with the president or the House or the Congress or the Senate is to be respectful and polite. And so far, Nancy Pelosi has literally done everything but the antithesis of that. For weeks on end, she was calling Mark Meadows every name in the book, and whatever his name is. Now she's saying the president's unfit to serve in the office of president. Do you think he will negotiate with you if that's what you're doing? The president and Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin are all guilty of not giving us a clear and correct answer of the stimulus negotiations. Nancy Pelosi today said the president's not being clear about his medical condition and his medical condition. I got to tell you, Nancy Pelosi, Donald, and Steve have absolutely categorically been untruthful and unclear about stimulus negotiations for weeks. On Friday, Nancy Pelosi told the airlines, hold off, I have a deal coming for you right away. It's coming immediately. Today she said, well, stimulus package relief may never come for a very long time. On Friday, she said a second stimulus deal would be imminent this weekend. Today, she said, well, you know what, I think we have a 25th Amendment problem, so maybe it's not coming. Last week, Steve and Nancy literally had no more than 4 different versions of what they were going to do with the airlines. They literally changed by the hour. And by yesterday, the president said to Steve Mnuchin, what's Nancy's position on the airlines? I want to say, Donald, what's your position on the airlines? No one knows anyone else's position because you keep on changing your mind every 10 seconds, both of you sides. You're both a bunch of fools. So he called her up and she referred to her last position 2 days before the prior position. Needless to say, they have absolutely no idea what their own positions are anymore. As we sit here today, we wonder if the reason why the second stimulus negotiations have not gone forward is because these are a bunch of very incompetent offices. Needless to say, her second stimulus package wants to give a raise to his office, Steve Mnuchin's Treasury Department. I don't think they need a raise. I think they need better calculators. Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi have not been able to keep a clear and correct brain cell as to what they have said from day to day in their negotiations. They use words like progress, imminent, happening, going to happen, and yet here are the facts. Here are the facts of the 5-minute mark of this video. Nancy Pelosi's FPUC offer, $600 a week, is unchanged since it was in June or July. Unchanged. Steve Mnuchin's offer, $400 for FPUC per week, is unchanged since the month of July. Nancy Pelosi's offer for $1,200 checks for individuals and adult and $2,400 for married couples, unchanged since July. What she has changed is she's made it worse for dependents. As time goes by, she's giving you less money. Yeah, she has switched dependents from $1,200 to $500. Nancy Pelosi's position on hazard pay has gotten worse. You were going to get hazard pay from Nancy Pelosi a few weeks ago, but she took it out last week. Steve Mnuchin is also guilty of the same discourse. 2 weeks ago, he said he was supporting the Problem Solvers bill. Well, the Problem Solvers bill has 2 stimulus checks in it. Steve Mnuchin's current position is 1 stimulus check. Steve Mnuchin said that he supported the Problem Solvers bill. Well, they're $450 a week for 8 weeks, and then 5 weeks at $600. Well, no. Steve Mnuchin's position is backwards now. Again, $400 a week. It remains unclear why these people seem to say they're doing something, but then change the number. And it seems sometimes that their numbers are getting worse, not better. And a lot of numbers make absolutely no categorical sense. As we sit here today, there's a couple things that I want to rant about, because I haven't ranted in a while, and so I certainly want to rant today. 1, I don't understand why Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi can't do retroactive FPUC to the date at which FPUC 1.0 expired in late July. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. If Nancy Pelosi is going to the mat for $600 a week as though we got to give unemployed people more money, well, why, Nancy, are you cutting them out of a whole month of benefits? Do you not know you're doing that? That's the only justification I can understand for the situation. She doesn't know she's cutting people out for a whole month of benefits. Under Nancy Pelosi's bill, you would not get unemployment benefits of FPUC for the month of August because she goes retroactive to September 5th. What's September 5th, Nance? I don't understand that. Second, next, I don't understand why Nancy Pelosi took out dependents' $1,200 checks and went to $500. Can you explain that to me? Why? Because you need to give more money to the trademark department for salary raises? I mean, did you cut somewhere for us, for the people, because you had to give salary raises? That's the only thing I can guess. Giving $1,200 stimulus checks to dependents is not a lot more money than $500 for dependent checks. We already know it doesn't cost a lot of money for stimulus checks. When we're talking about the entire package, it's about $300 billion to do $1,200, family of 5, everyone's $1,200, $6,000. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And this is just 1 stimulus check. My next rant. Steve Mnuchin, why did you take out the multiple stimulus checks from the problem solvers? Steve Mnuchin, you're the person who said just a few weeks ago, I will support multiple stimulus checks if warranted. It's warranted now, Steve. The jobs numbers came out today and it was bad. Bad. It's a bad number. Why, when the problem solver says we're going to give you a second stimulus check in March, Steve Mnuchin comes and says, hey, you know what, we're just taking that out. Shh, we're taking that out. Don't tell anyone. Now, Nancy Pelosi is the most guilty party about taking out stimulus checks. You were supposed to have a stimulus check for the month of April, May, June, July, all those months that you were on lockdown. She took it out. Ms. Harris debated last night. Her and Bernie Sanders had that bill that called for a $2,000 check every month for 6 months. You would not be in a problem if you had those checks now. Ms. Pelosi didn't want that as either. It seems as though these people certainly make a real good art form of not giving you money, but giving Andrew Cuomo money, giving Gavin Newsom money, giving states money, giving salary raises to federal officials. It seems like they give a lot of money to themselves and very little money to us. And so as we sit here today, the question is, do they understand that's not stimulus? Two major reports that came out today were COVID US cases and COVID Germany cases. First, COVID US cases are on the rise majorly, especially on the East Coast and the Sun Belt states. What's going on? South Dakota is reporting 47 daily cases per 100,000 residents, the highest in any state in the United States. This is based upon Johns Hopkins. The chart showing new daily coronavirus cases with data through October 7th shows that there's record high average new cases in the following states: North Dakota, South Dakota, Utah, Wyoming, Nebraska, Montana, Minnesota, Kentucky, Indiana, Colorado, and Alaska. Next, Germany. Germany announced today that it sees that the number of new cases absolutely out of control. Germany says that they are seeing the worst daily reporting of COVID-19 cases that they have seen since the pandemic started. This is amid also calls that many parts of Europe are seeing record number of COVID-19 cases. The reason I bring this up in a Pelosi versus MNUCHIN video is the following, and I detailed it about 2 days ago. It's important to remind you right now, is that the current stimulus, not salary raise, but current stimulus package right now is supposed to give relief to you to get through this pandemic. And if we don't get that relief now, then ultimately what will happen is you won't have relief now, and that when the pandemic surges up and you have to go on lockdown, you don't even have stimulus for the last period of time and that you dealt with the virus. Jerome Powell spoke about this issue just a few days ago, and he said, hey, you have stimulus from the first stimulus package of the spring, but all the benefit of that stimulus package has all been used up. And that was a stimulus package to get you through a lockdown. The current stimulus that Mnuchin and Pelosi are supposed to be negotiating for you is to get you rebounded, to get you unemployment benefits now that you are unemployed, to get you a stimulus check so that you have money to pay rent and pay for food. And that ultimately that stimulus package is really, that we're talking about now, is really for what's going on from July to about September. This stimulus package is not supposed to be for October. It's not supposed to give you relief for October. What's supposed to give you relief for November, October, December is another stimulus package, said Jerome Powell. And that one is to really get you prepared for another lockdown. A new series of reports says that COVID-19 cases are on the rise about 5% nationwide, based upon weekly results in 30 states as of Wednesday, according to Johns Hopkins data, but that some states are up 8% compared to the week before, averaging 45,000 new cases per day. But in some cities and counties and states, the situations are very bad. New Jersey was headline news today that's saying their numbers are going double the day before every single day. And when you see these numbers getting very, very severe, and you have a Democratic governor that respects, and I'm not just making it partisan, I'm just saying generally, a lot of these Republican governors have not respected CDC guidelines, they're going to have to lock down these states come the winter if these COVID-19 cases get very, very bad. And so as you sit here today, when Pelosi and Mnuchin are negotiating, they need to understand that this negotiation needs to get done now, because it's for this current situation. It's not for a situation to get us to January. And they constantly keep on suggesting that this is a stimulus package to get us to January. Oh no, this is a stimulus package to get you from July to about September. And what you need thereafter is more relief. Now, I want to make something very clear, because I know someone's going to say, but there's some things in there that gives you relief, like FPUC to January 31st. That I got that. I'm just talking about other types of relief. There's just not enough liquidity in this package to get you going forward. Let me answer some of your 435 questions from yesterday. Linda, another stalemate. Nancy's a waste. If Trump wants the American people to get stimulus, then he must call an executive order. Stimulus for seats. Amen. I don't understand why this president doesn't understand that Nancy Pelosi's giving him whatever the expression is, a rope without a boat or something like that. She keeps on suggesting that something may happen, and then he's like, nothing happens. I'm like, Donald, do an executive order. What are you doing? Denise, can't wait to see the history books on this presidency. Ashley, hey there, Purple Power. How stupid is Steve Mnuchin going to looking back on Nancy asking for a standalone bill, including the airlines, after Nancy tried that and refused? Now he's going back asking for a standalone bill for airlines. I just can't anymore. That's awful. They all look like teenage girls. Man up and get something done already. I agree. I mean, that's sort of what I did not mention in the opening of this video, was that, there were standalone bills. They rejected each other's standalone bills. Now they want to do standalone bills, and they don't want to do standalone bills. It's just, I don't even think they know what they're saying anymore. It's just really sad. Lori, LA, this whole circus is just embarrassing for all Americans. I love America. I just can't understand why all these idiots will be voted out at election time. Nancy Pelosi is not a money person. Steve Mnuchin is a money person. And ultimately, I've always said that was one of the real causes of the problems, that this is a woman who's negotiating, who doesn't know what numbers are for, doesn't know the purposes of the numbers, and ultimately just sort of talks in broad strokes. And, the bill is 3,000 something pages long. I mean, do you really know what's in that bill? Do you really know what's in that bill? Tamara, the problem that they're talking too much and get the most money. Jeremy, as a country, we usually lead as example. Canada is much better than their people. Andy, no one cares that they spoke about ice cream prices and pot. It's all nonsense. Congress is nothing. Belua Carter. Good evening, Purple Power. Good evening. Pray that everyone has a great day and great night. Please be safe. God bless all. God's grace, mercy, love, joy, and peace to all. Sending prayers of love. I love that. I really, really love that. And there's a lot of beautiful emojis in there. I love that. As these COVID-19 cases rise, I don't want the situation to get for you worse. I don't want you to get COVID. I don't want loved ones around you to get COVID. And we all have prayers. So thank you for that wonderful message, Belua Carter. Beautiful. Carolyn McQuide. They're having coffee while children going hungry. Very well said. George Aquanzina. Voting in the socialist Marxist movement is about as dumb as it gets. John M. When people look back a couple years, we're going to remember this period as the history of a government that said it was one of the most torturous and selfish periods of American history. Amen. Brian. If I had seen all these crazy antics the Democrats were coming up with, I would never have believed it. I hope we understand how bad Nancy Pelosi's bill is. I hope we understand that Nancy Pelosi's bill was not a stimulus bill, that it was massive amounts of salary raises for people who don't deal with anything COVID-19 related, and that it was basically a way to deal with other parts of government in a bill that had nothing to do with COVID-19. Carlita, nothing changed, more games. Jason, he can't do executive orders, or he would have done it already. He absolutely can, Jason. He can. He has the legal authority. He has the money. The only case in which he cannot is when the money's inside of Treasury. This money's not inside of Treasury. It requires an act of Congress and a vote of Congress to send money out of Treasury. Here, he's not sending the money out of Treasury. It's $500 billion that is already existing. He has done it before. He has done it with LWA. Money was sitting around. He gave it to FEMA, and that was dedicated for LWA. Lynn Walker, I think the whole government is going loony. Just the whole government. Corrine Romero, why can't they get the money? They're just sitting around. What's their purpose? If they not touch or use it, I don't care. It's just also messed up, seriously. 19 hours ago, I wonder what Corrine thinks today. We're not even done with the day. Well, if you have questions to today's video, drop them in the comments below. Pelosi versus Mnuchin. It was no less than 2 days ago that I thought that this time slot would get a new show, because Pelosi and Mnuchin was called off by the president. He said, no, they're still talking. They're they're making incredible progress. Let me make clear. Yesterday, Nancy and Steve Mnuchin did not negotiate. Despite what the president wants to tell you, they did not negotiate yesterday, so there was no progress. What they did was act very professional, and they chatted about the bill and chatted about what the terms were, chatted what they had said to one another about airlines, but that's not negotiations. And needless to say, today he brought it back. And then she sort of said no, but then said, I have great hope. Ultimately, great hope only goes so far if there's actual movement. And so hopefully we see movement with these people. Hopefully they understand that they have to get off their numbers. Hopefully they understand they need to change. But for now, the Purple Power is focused. We're focused because it has to focus on the president. He should be doing this by executive orders. It's enough already. Go to the Funniest channel, subscribe. Subscribe because it's the best darn channel there is out there that keeps you informed by the minute of all the twists and turns and all the innuendos, suggestions, partisan statements and facts and fictions. Also, like this video. Coming up next is Evenings LALATE, which I expect, we're not done with the day yet. There could be more twists and turns. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.